we're talking low cost, right?
I'm talking about mowing.
Clean it up, get the
Yeah.
trash out,
Get the trash out.
trim things up, bleach it, but no construction work.
No, not until we
Not
have
till
time
we
to think
know,
about it,
yeah.
see what it looks like when it's cleaned up. And if it smells bad.
Now, I didn't go in.
Oh, it's bad. I think they've had animals in there. I think that's what it is. I think it's a urine.
Was it pigs?
Here's what he proposed to take out the bushes and everything, like, and clean it up and trim the trees and all that. It was what, around 1,900?
The contractor?
That Wayne Wilson, when he was over there, did he roll that?
When I went to that
You
inmate
wanted
class,
how much?
1900.
$1,900.
when I went to that inmate
Yeah,
class,
the inmates can do
the inmates
it.
can use chainsaws
They
too.
can?
Yep. And Ms. Webster just said, make sure you tell them to bring their chaffs and stuff like that, but yeah, they can operate chainsaws. So tree limbs that are hanging down, the bushes in front of the house, they can use hired equipment, as long as they have gloves and eye protection.
I would like to leave take the fence down, but somebody mentioned that it does give a little extra security right now while nobody's living there. So maybe we ought to leave the fence up for now. I don't know what you all think.
How you gonna get that? You saw the pictures. How we gonna get all that up out of there with a chain link fence, I thought?
Half of that was tore down and rusted.
Yeah, it's not all of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
bad.
mean,
It got taken down in the back behind the house where they were tearing up stuff.
Yeah, and I think we need to put some heavy chains up there too, when the contractor gets out of there.
But I would like to see, I know they're gonna charge to use those dumpsters. I'd love to see that house cleaned up and pictures taken of
And
the
that was
inside.
with the dumpsters too, that 1,900, I think, dumpsters, and everything. I
I'm
gotta
sure that
look back
carpet's
at it.
nice and right now.
Could we find out how much just dumpsters would cost if we had the inmates do it? We
I
probably
think
need a
it's
good size
350.
one.
Did
Don't
somebody
you
say
think?
350
I
before?
think it would be about $300.
For the big dumpsters?
$400.
I think one dumpster can take care of all the trash inside the house.
I like you.
Okay, we got that answer? You ready? Temporarily, okay. All right.
Do you think that could get worked on this week or next week, Mayor? Start taking the trash out before it gets more rotten and mildewing inside?
Yeah,
They even left food in the refrigerator. There was a picture.
Yeah, it was.
The refrigerator
And
didn't
the
look that
refrigerator
bad
was, it
either.
was still on when we were there.
And the food was cold.
And
when
we
we
were
looked
told
at
it
it on the
wasn't
12th.
sticky then.
JD's off Friday, Megan said, for a funeral, and, with the rain and everything, I think he's about caught up with the mowing, but, I'll let him know what you all decided, and to see if they can't go ahead and get started on that. Does that sound okay?
Leave the refrigerator door open after stuff's out.
You can have it then.
I don't have his number.
Jack Wright on 491, they had tore down those two houses, and Wanda called him today, and he had no clue that they just left the stuff there. The guy was supposed to remove all the debris, so he's gonna get on that and get that debris up. The Pat Stanley house, June 20th, advised in 4 days that house will be tore down, it's still there. So, I don't know why he's beating around the bush and telling us this and that and the other, but I don't fully respect what he's saying about that burnout house.
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead.
Why don't the city go ahead and have them tear that house down and then build Pat Stanley for the house?
You guys can certainly do that. There's notice requirements and what have you ahead of time, and I consider Pat a friend, but he might need some motivation. And not that you guys haven't tried to motivate him, but there are certain notice requirements. We did that once or twice with Jar Ridge. And,
From what I understood Wanda to say today, though, it's because it's in litigation. It's not Pat tearing down the house, it's the person that was in the process of buying the house having to tear it down. I don't know.
I've heard that, yeah, now that you say that, Megan, I do recall that there's some litigation involved. I forget the nature of it, so,
Could we tear it down and then when they determine who owns it, we send them the bill?
well, the problem may be is, as I said, there's certain notice requirements and hoops you gotta jump through, before you do it. And I guess I would want to extend the litigation, who all claims an interest in it would obviously be a huge thing to make sure, again, everybody's noticed. Because if we tear it down, like, again, we had this issue happen once at Dry Ridge. I'm not saying you can't do it, but we need to be very careful, but I agree, we do need to send out something, because otherwise, it may not be on Pat's top of his list.
Well, that was my thought, Jennifer, just to go on and do it, but we gotta legally know what.
Well, that is my concern, because we had the Dry Ridge situation with a non-local owner, and some multiple notices sent, things put in the paper, something filed, and yet they still argue that they didn't get proper notice, so.
Is the notice in the code enforcement part of it, is that where we follow that procedure? And the
well,
hearings and all that? Is that-
There's statutory requirements as to how you have to go about notifying people, basically a nuisance abatement. But in such an extreme circumstance where you're looking at tearing somebody's structure down, you gotta give them so many days. I can't remember if it's 30, again, it's about 2 years ago that we had this happen. But it's laid out. I mean, it's something that I'm sure Alex is familiar with, that I dealt with once before. Would wanna look at that, especially since it's in litigation, to make sure that everybody gets proper notice.
Mayor, we got a letter of clarity from the insurance company that they're done. I don't think we should do anything until we get one of the letters that we get that the insurance is like, we're done, we don't care what you do, because it's still my.
Wanda hasn't received one either, and that was part of the conversation that he was supposed to supply that insurance letter. And I don't know how legally we can force him to do that.
Could a building inspector deem it unsafe?
Certainly could. And
I mean, they've done it in the past, on
Right.
buildings down here on Main Street, and have them demolished immediately.
Yeah, I mean, they could declare an emergency. But again, Roger, my big concern now that Megan reminded me is that property's in litigation. So,
But if it's a public safety issue, it won't matter who owns it, the problem's still there.
that's true too, and I'm certainly not saying that it couldn't or shouldn't be torn down.
We just need to go through.
Right, because you're talking about a relatively extreme step, one that's not done very often, you're condemning and knocking it down. There's very precise requirements, and if you don't follow them, it's one of those things, if you don't follow them, you can end up in trouble. You know, a whoops or a miss something can
Once
get
it's
you
down,
sued.
it's down.
Exactly, where it's down, it's down. And then all of a sudden, they're gonna act like they cared about it, whether they did or not. That's what happened in our other case. Couldn't find the guy for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, he was, just getting ready to start working on it. Sure.
Well, if we made a checklist with the building inspector, the fire department, the sheriff's office, and we get them all on board at the same time, we might be able to, within 30 days, have this on the ground.
Well, and be sure to add Alex to that, make sure
Yeah.
he's directing all of it.
And at least with Pat, you've got somebody local that apparently we all pretty much know, so putting him on notice won't be as difficult as the situation we had with the out of the area owner.
And I think Steve Howe's working on
He may be on that case, and unless you're who he represents, if it's Pat or somebody else.
Pat.
Is Pat, then certainly send a notice to Steve would be a good idea. It's one of those times where overkill's probably called for.
It'll definitely get their attention.
It absolutely will get there. My thinking is, considering how long this has drug on, and the mayor, previous conversations with Pat, previous promises that have come and gone, my thinking is that that may be all you have to do. If Pat doesn't want any more trouble, I can't imagine.
And we've already got the dumpsters and the crew right there, so
Yeah.
now it's done.
Hey, if we take off one house down, we're gonna get the other, right?
And I'll let you know what Steve Howe says, because Pat said to call me and see what's going on. deals and Steve Bates, County Attorney, reviewed the interlocal agreements for the law and road agreement. They feel they don't need to be rewritten because they aren't really updating anything. I'm just passing this message along. They suggested maybe to do a resolution regarding everything that we expect with the Grant County Sheriff's Department. If you add all those requirements into the ordinance, then they become the law. So let's say you have an emergency situation in Crittenden and ties up the police for the day, and then they don't patrol the streets enough, and it's like they're breaking the law with the ordinance. So if we have a resolution, then when it's time to renew the contract again, then we can refer back to that regarding things they might not have done the way the council wanted them to do. So,
Who would draw up or write up the resolution?
we would,
I think we
and
should
it,
do.
add to what Jennifer had turned in.
All of this would be added to the resolution?
Yes.
Is the resolution just an addendum to the contract?
Well, it's like the fire department resolution, you have an agreement, but you have a resolution that says this is what you need to do. If you don't do it, then,
Are those two documents married though, it's referencing each other?
I don't know if you'd say they're married, Joe, but I would agree with the mayor. I've had, Stephen's asked me a few times, he's like, I'm not sure where the miscommunication is. The agreement isn't, as I understand it, the agreement isn't changing drastically. There's issues that the council's concerned about and wants to make sure are addressed. And yeah, the issue of who would just do this by resolution came up in my discussions with him, and I said, I believe it's fine. Alex may have a different opinion, but we both felt that it was fine, and that, yeah, I mean, the resolution would certainly cite to the ordinance and to the agreement.
Yeah,
If you consider that married, yeah, but certainly reference it.
Alex stated that the resolution was what we needed.
Yes,
instead of-
and Stephen and I agree with that, and I think that would put this to rest.
The only thing I see here on this list, it says sheriff report the mayor within 24 hours. We could put a timely manner on there instead of 24 hours, and that way if the interstates shut down, or if we have traffic situations or something for the city, they need to contact us within a timely manner. 24 hours, so that's a long time. So we'll change that to a timely manner.
I think I remember Brian also saying, the sheriff also saying something about number 6. He didn't want to, he wanted not to be responsible for everything the public works does about, he said number 6 is the public works does that a lot. Number 6, and if you got a big hole that's going to swallow a car, yes, they'll say something about that. And if there's a tree blocking the road, yes, they're going to call the fire department to do that. They're not going to walk away. But they didn't want to, they said the public works does a lot of number 6 on a 40-hour day.
I get that, Danny. I just feel like that if there is something that's a hazard, or they need to report it as soon as they need to do something. But if there's high water and we don't know about it, or common sense, they're gonna want something that is happening and we don't know anything about it, he needs to contact us. I don't know if all those would be emergency situations, but
So you want to add emergency conditions onto that?
they did contact us the other night about a street light being hit.
And the harvesters?
In the harvesters. They called JD and he went out there.
Didn't fix it though.
No.
Is it
It's still
leaking
leaning.
again today?
Yes,
It's
still
still
leaning.
leaning.
Duke called me today, he went out there and fixed it, but he said that with the ground being so saturated, he didn't know if it was broke underneath the ground, so he tried to fix it the best he could. He told me if we had any complaints, to call him back, and they would have to get another crew out there.
Yeah,
to
it's
pull
still
it.
leaning.
Okay. I'll report it tomorrow to you.
Anything else?
It is on Waller, yes. It's the second street light on the left.
On number 8, is there any way when you're contacted, I could kind of stone tree down to everybody else. Not for street. I'm talking.
No, I'm calling you, Todd. Yeah, well, if our communication can be better than what it has been in the past, I don't have a problem with that. If everybody wants it. Art Martin had contacted me in reference to the Oakwood, I think I sent that to you, Joe. He's coming in tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock to meet with me or whoever else wants to come in and speak with him about Oakwood. There's some issues there with the width of the road. It's more like a one-way street. So, we'll pass this around.
We can't hear you.
Say it. Oh, I'm sorry. Art Harden, with, the engineer, he's coming in tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to talk about Oakwood. He's saying that the street itself is more like a one-way street, it's not wide enough. So he's gonna come in and try to, relay what may have to be done in order for that to go in. So anybody, any council is welcome to come in tomorrow, or they want to come in and sit on that, on that meeting. One more thing, the code enforcement board. Chris Cross, as you see, I gave you guys a copy of his resignation. Sharon Money would not answer our calls, nor show up for a meeting. And I had talked with Adam Lampman. Did I pronounce that right, Adam? Who comes to the meetings quite often, and he's interested in being on the code enforcement board, which gives us 3. It's Mark Thomas, Lance Robinson, and Adam. If that's okay with you. There was 4.
Will there be 4
No.
again?
It can be, but there's not right now. Lance, decided he would take on the role as hearing officer and getting all that together. It's not an easy function to get it all up and running, but we need people that's going to be responsible to be here. So if they're not, if they get a note that, there's a meeting and they're not showing up, it's hard to have a quorum with that many people. So, Adam, would you like to stand up and just tell them, a little bit about yourself?
Let's see, I've been a lifetime resident of Grand County, moved into city limits in 2014, over in Eagle Creek. So, it's, I don't know what you guys want to know. Ask me.
What's your job?
For R.W. Jackson Construction.
Well, that's true. As a kid, my godfather is R.W. Jackson, so if any of you guys know him, he worked for the city for I don't know how many years, you name it. We've put in the water lines, we put in the sewer pipes, all sorts of stuff. So.
And you work with the football league?
Yeah, I'm currently president of the Kentucky Middle School Football Association as well for the state.
Adam, spell your last name for me.
Lantman.
Thank you.
That is who we got at the, to fill that position, and then we'll vote on that next week, Tuesday, if you guys.
Do you just need 3 people, or?
And there's Wanda, 3 and Wanda.
What was Lance's last name?
Robinson.
Who lives at the beginning of my subdivision? I mean.
Anything else?
Will you all be, will Alex be doing the ordinance for the first reading of the budget that we voted on?
Yes,
Okay, so,
that thanks good.
okay, he doesn't need to do anything, okay.
Our next meeting is next Tuesday night at 7 p.m., July 2nd. And,
I have one more thing, it just dawned on me. What, could we talk about when would be a good time to have special meetings? I don't know what everybody's schedule is, and maybe if we, could come up with something that would work for everybody, so we don't exclude anybody.
well, I talked to Todd the other day about this, with his schedule being, you know, so
My schedule rotates every 2 weeks.
and
Yeah.
Tuesday night is good, if he would let me know, if we decided we might be wanting to table something to a special meeting, that he could let us know if he's off that Tuesday night, and we can always have another Tuesday night, in that way.
Well, and the other thing I was wondering is, could we have it earlier? Because I know you work during the day and you work in the evenings, and so I'm thinking like if we could do like 4 o'clock or something like that.
Or even a 1 o'clock.
Well, 1 o'clock's bad for me.
Oh,
Um,
Tuesdays?
And you, and her, so, and I don't know who else it might be.
I usually work with Justine about anything, but I've got a lot of doctor's appointments. Let's not try to schedule any special meetings for July. Let's see if we can slide through.
With all the agreements and everything out of the way, it should be pretty relaxed and pretty, you know. Well, I don't see anything, so.
I did look into a PA system,
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
and I believe for less than $1,500, we would have 8 microphones, which is overkill what we need, but that's what it will hold, and have more than enough power for the back row to hear.
And just one for them.
That'll count for that too.
And thank you, Todd, for looking into that. I had no
Here,
clue.
honey, I'm sorry.
I had no clue that Todd was educated in all that and did, you know, and that helps us because what I was being fed was it was gonna be $10,000 to $20,000 for a PA system and microphone, and this, look what this is saving.
That's a free.
It's the ability to incorporate the microphones into the camera system. Would be helpful.
Oh.
Unless they can hear it on their own.
Next Tuesday, 7 p.m.
Yep.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Was Jamie Baker?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie Baker couldn't make it tonight, she's gonna make it next time, caucus meeting.
What's she gonna talk about?
She's development, I think, bringing back Tanya Burns into the R5, talking about the R5.
Oh, wait, she said